So I want to talk about the economic feel in country, in Malaysia. And I want to cover this because when I left the UK, I very much felt like the economic situation was not just dire, but catastrophic. So just to go over the UK, it felt like you couldn't do anything. It felt like if ever you summed up the economic numbers behind a business idea, they didn't make sense. If ever you looked at putting in a planning application for maybe a commercial construction or a residential construction, it made no sense because how long it would take and the 100% guarantee that you'd be denied your application unless you fought for several years. And when you think about it, or when I think about it, if you can't get a planning application through within 2 months, 3 months, it's simply too long, and it's a failure of the system. That we only live for maybe 70 years productively, the first 20 of those are in education, so you've got 50 years, and if you've got to wait 2 years and fight, and it costs a lot of money to get, say, a planning through or a license for something through, it's too much of your life gone fighting for that, and it's simply a waste of your time. So that's how things felt in the UK. The costs of everything, the regulations, the laws. The UK became a culture of, when you said to someone, let's go and do this, the first response would be, do you think we're allowed? When you wanted to do anything just for fun, people's first response was, do you think we're allowed? So somehow the system in the UK had indoctrinated everyone into be a completely subservient society. Their first thought is, are we allowed? And it's shown just in parking. When you park, you don't just park and go, you park and you immediately look for the parking signs and how much you need to pay and how you need to pay it. And it'd always be an extortionate price for parking your car, completely ridiculous pricing. And then you'd walk into town and the shops would be closed because they couldn't get the right license. They would have some health and safety regulation they couldn't comply with. Really, I mean, the UK is in reverse and heading at high speed, backwards and downwards, blindfolded. Okay, enough of the UK, let's talk about Malaysia. Okay, so as I've spoken of a few times, the construction going on here is immense. It's amazing, it's very impressive. Stuff gets built really quickly. So I can only assume that the planning side to the country is progressive, is that the right word? Where you can get stuff done, you can apply for stuff, and it will go through. And you do have some element of freedom. Freedom you definitely don't experience in the UK. There's a positive atmosphere around the government. They have a new one. I don't know much about it, but it's newly installed government. And it's very much more positive, business friendly. This is what I hear. So people are very upbeat about their economic situation here. In the UK, it's currently, the government is a dire, disastrous, socialist, let's call it communist government. I don't need to say any more than that. Here it very much feels positive, and it's not can I do it, it's what can I do and can I do it. There's not even that question. It's just I'm going to. So I'm going to set up a street food cafe, I'm going to set up a coffee shop, I'm going to sell coconuts, Malaysia seems a country where everything's possible. They've got some really sensible policies here compared to the UK. For example, I hear that the government sponsors the petrol price. So what that means is, in the UK, the tax is about 80% of the petrol price you pay. Here, the government subsidizes the petrol price. It feels like a no-brainer because business relies on fuel for vehicles, for transportation. Every single business relies on some mode of transport. And why not keep those costs to a minimum so that you're competitive by subsidizing the petrol price? It makes absolute sense, and in Malaysia they do it, so petrol is affordable for everyone and it enables the country to be competitive. And it makes sense because they have oil and gas here, the government, they raise money nationally by selling that oil and gas, and they give some of that back via petrol subsidy to the people, the people are the people of the land. Whereas the UK government, they have the North Sea oil fields, they take all that money, they keep that all for themselves, or the big business, the big corporates, and they do not subsidise the petrol price. They put a huge tax on your petrol prices to make your life unaffordable, your company's life unaffordable, and therefore the cost of goods unaffordable. Nice one, UK. I've talked a lot about the diversity here, the Chinese, the Malaysian, the Indian, Taiwan, Singapore. They're all here and they're all getting along and they're all investing. It feels like Malaysia is a natural hub. The KL airport is a major hub regionally, which they put in decades ago. That's encouraging investment, especially we've seen a lot of Chinese investment around here. Not just Malaysian Chinese, but Chinese investment in Malaysia. It's all paying off, this openness to business. And we get a real feel that when you're looking in the region, Malaysia would definitely be up there as a place to invest and spend money as a business. There's good labor, there's educated labor, you can bring in outside labor. We know a factory owner who brings in people from Burma who want to earn some money. He brings in people from Laos, Cambodia. There's people from Philippines here wanting to work. Regionally, they bring in a lot of labor to help with all the tasks, top to bottom. So it definitely feels like a growth region.